Hi, I'm Katrina from Passion for Plants, and today I'm going to show you how to make date paste. So I'm using these pre-pitted dates, but normally I'd be using non-pitted dates. If you are using dates with pits in them, make sure that you cut them open and check them for pits and remove them before you soak them in water. Date paste is a really great alternative to natural sweeteners like maple syrup or cane sugar because you're retaining the fiber of the date in the paste. So I use two 8-ounce containers, and you can see these are pre-pitted. They have nice big holes through them. These are Deglet Nor dates. Normally I use medjool dates, which are larger and creamier, but these will do the trick. So you just want to make sure that there aren't any tough rinds on the ends of the dates. These all look good after I've sorted through them. So now we are going to add some hot water until the dates are covered and then let them sit for 10 minutes. Okay, so now I have my just boiled water, and I'm just gonna pour that over the dates. Just wanna make sure that they're coated. So it's about 2 cups of water for 16 ounces or a pound of dried dates. Now we're just gonna let them sit for about 15 minutes and then to soften them up, and we'll come back and blend them. Okay, so our dates have soaked in hot water for about 15 minutes now, and this is what they should look like. The skin kind of starts to peel off a little and the water is starting to get a little brown. So now we are ready to blend them up. I use a Ninja food processor, and this is what that looks like. You will need a blender or high-speed food processor. So you're just gonna take the dates, put them in there. The water's not too hot, but you can easily use a spoon. I'm gonna pour some of the water off. Whoops. Don't do it that fast. Okay. And I like this food processor size because it's really big, so it can make a large batch at once. All right. Now we're just gonna blend it on high for a couple minutes, and we're gonna stop to scrape down the sides so the date paste becomes really uniform and smooth. This is what it looks like after it's blended for about 30 seconds. With all that water in there, it's already pretty thin, which is nice. So it's still, the consistency of the paste is a little thick. There's still some chunks in it, so we're gonna blend it for a little while. So about 2.5 minutes of blending later, and it looks like this, so creamy and thick. You can see that it's like just really creamy and delicious looking. So now I'm gonna be making some black bean brownies to show you how I use date paste. So let's go do that. Okay, so all of our ingredients are ready for these black bean brownies. I'm using a recipe from Chocolate Covered Katie's blog, which is amazing, so you should definitely check it out. But I modify the recipes to be oil-free and refined sugar-free. So that's what I'm going to be using the date paste here that we just made instead of maple syrup or cane sugar. And then I'm using applesauce here instead of coconut oil. So I also doubled the recipe because I always double my dessert recipes. Who doesn't want more dessert? So here I'm using 3 cups of black beans. And I like to blend my ingredients because it creates a really smooth base for the brownies. And since the beans are kind of chunky, you want to make sure that they get smooth and well blended. And then I have 1 cup of oat flour. I have 4 tablespoons of organic cacao powder, but you could also use cocoa powder. And then to start with, I'm gonna blend this together first so that the black beans get really smooth. All right, I'm just scraping down the sides a little. I'm also gonna add the applesauce now. This is more liquidy, so it's gonna help everything blend up a little better than it is right now. It gets really messy in the blender, but don't worry, the finished product is delicious. So you definitely might have to stop and scrape things down from time to time. That is perfectly normal. So since it's still pretty thick, I'm gonna add in just a little bit of coconut milk. About a 1/4 cup there. to help it liquefy. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and this stuff is that I use aluminum free because aluminum is a heavy metal and you definitely don't want that in your body. Most regular baking powders contain aluminum. And then we're also going to scrape this is about a cup of date paste. So I'm going to start with half of it, and then we'll taste test for the sweetness and see if we need more. I just tasted it and it needs a little more sweetness, so I added the other half of the date paste. Okay, so the texture is really nice. It's thick but still gooey. Everything is totally blended and it tastes amazing. So we're going to transfer all of this batter into a bowl, and then we're going to mix in the chocolate chips and pop it in the oven. I'm blending the ingredients. You can see how much this helps because you can see how smooth the batter is. If you don't blend them, the black beans get really kind of chunky, and I don't know, no one really wants to taste black beans in their brownies, you know? It's the most gooey looking batter. Okay, so finally scraped all the batter out, and how amazing is this texture? It's so delicious, even without the chocolate chips. But of course they are brownies, so we need chocolate chips. So once again, since I'm doubling the recipe, I'm using about 3/4 of a cup of dairy-free chocolate chips. I use the brand Enjoy Life. Just want to make sure to get them all even. All right, now we're gonna pour it into a baking pan and bake for about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll check it every few minutes after 20 minutes. It's amazing. I have such a hard time getting my baked goods to the baked part of the good because they're always so good raw. And since it's all vegan, you can eat it raw. So the oven is ready to go, heated to 350. And throw it in. And we'll check back to the shelf. Okay, so they've been baking for 20 minutes. They look pretty good, but I'm gonna use a chopstick and stick it in the middle. If it comes out clean, then they're done. All right, so it's a little gooey. That's just the chocolate chips. We're gonna leave them in for about 5 to 10 more minutes, so we'll check back in 5 minutes. Okay, so the brownies baked for about 45 minutes in the end, a lot longer than expected, but that happens sometimes with such a big batch and with oil-free baking. So now it's time to dive in. Look how gooey and delicious these look. Oh my gosh, so good. You guys have to try this recipe. The link for the recipe to Chocolate Covered Katie's blog will be in the description below, and I'll list what I used as modifications from her recipe to make this refined sugar-free and oil-free. Thanks for watching.